Alrighty, hello everyone and welcome back to another video. And as you can probably see right out the gate, and as you can probably tell by the title, I am going to be doing something brand new that I have never done for a video before. I am actually going to be making a tier list. And since I wanted to make one of these pretty meaty and full of my opinions, I decided to do one for Monster High ships. So yeah, this is going to be a Monster High ships tier list video. Now, this is something I've been wanting to do for quite some time, but especially setting this up, I've had a lot of problems. Like, first of all, I don't have like super high-tech stuff that you could just like record on the computer, then put your voice over it and stuff like that. I don't have the tech to really do that. So I've had to essentially just make do with what I got. So I've got my phone up against a bit of a stand, and I'm having to use my old phone for this. I wish I could have used my new one because it's got more space for me to use, but for some reason, like, one thing I've been wanting to do for a lot of my videos recently is add a bit more editing to them. And one thing I realized, like, as I was messing around with my new phone, for some reason, the editing app on there that I use for all of my videos, and in fact, it's one that I've used for all of my music videos, in case you guys were wondering, for some reason, when I use that app on my new phone, any clips that I've like downloaded to put into for making a video, for some reason, they're all just completely black. Like, nothing. Like, you just can't see anything. And I don't know why that is. But it's made it to where I pretty much have no choice but to use my old phone for this, because sending it to that new one is kind of a rough process, because that one's on a different plan. So, yeah, for some reason I can't use that phone at all for editing purposes. So I'm having to use my old one, which got propped up against a little stand here in front of my computer. And it's working. It's working all right. There's definitely some flaws. Like, I could definitely use like a proper stand that I can just prop my phone up exactly how I want to. But for what it is, I don't think it's all that bad. Also, I need to mention that, like, I had to recently, we moved again, and keep in mind, this was not between states like the last time. This time we just moved into a new house, and we moved into like a townhouse sort of thing where we have neighbors literally right next door. So I'm having to do this in my bedroom, just so I can put as many walls between me and the neighbors as possible. That way I don't make a whole bunch of noise while giving you guys commentary for this. So yeah, and it's not exactly the easiest thing for me to position for. Like, I'm currently just laying on my bed in like a straightforward position, and you could probably kind of see because my movement shakes the phone quite a bit. But yeah, so I'm having to do this in my bedroom. And also, I do want to mention the fact that this tier list really isn't mine. Like, I really can't make a tier list because TierMaker, for some reason, won't let me make an account on here for whatever reason. So basically, I have just grabbed a tier list done by someone else, which I do have to say, for some reason, like, most of these Monster High tier list ship things don't have all the ships that I feel like I would need to talk about. Like, some are understandable because they're kind of a rare pair, but others are like, you kind of need to include that. And for I do need to tell you guys about this. Like, let me see. Yep, there's my mouse. From here all the way to here, those are the ships that were already on there. And there were 27 originally on there, and I added 32. So what you're seeing from here, you can see where my mouse is, all the way down to here, that's all stuff that I added. In total, I have 59 ships on here, and most of them are ones that I grabbed from other sources and put on here, because that is something handy that you could do with Tier Maker. And I've got 7 tiers, so let me scroll down a bit so you can... There we go. So first off, we've got OTP at the top, which is obviously for my favorite Monster High ships, ones that go right up to the top. We got Awesome Couple, which are ones that I really, really like. They're some of my favorites. Not Bad, which are ships that I'm not really huge about, but I also really don't think they're that bad. And if you changed a couple things, I would definitely pair them. So probably like a third place positive. We've got Okay, which are for the ships that are just okay. We have which is for the ones that I really don't have anything to say about. We've got Wow Bad, which are the ones that I really don't like at all. And we've got Absolutely Not, which are the ones that I absolutely hate. So yeah, pretty simple. We've got 7 tiers. We've got 59 total ships to go through. And yeah, just as a quick note, all the opinions you're going to be hearing in this video are my own, so keep that in mind, especially in the comments section. Though there's going to be a couple of spots where this being my opinion is definitely going to factor in, because I've got some certain opinions on certain ships I don't know how people will respond to, because like I'm a very different Monster High fan than most. Like I don't come for this series really for the doll lines, which is what I'm pretty sure most people come to this series for. I come to it more for the story and the characters, because for what it is very well done in Monster High. And I also have very different views on a lot of things related to Monster High. But yeah, I really don't have anything else to talk about, so let's go ahead and get into the list. So starting from the beginning, we have Abby and Draculaura. Is that actually a ship? Because I have never seen this pairing before. Let me know in the comments if that's actually a ship, because I don't recognize that one at all. But yeah, I really not feeling that one. I don't know if it's a wow bad. I'm just gonna say because like I really just don't see that one at all. Next up, we've got Abby and Heath. Now, I have mixed opinions on this, mainly because of Heath. Like, Heath is like a major 50-50 character for me. Like, he can either be really, really good, or he can be really bad. And for the most part, unfortunately, he's been really bad, because G3 animated series absolutely butchered his design. Like, that model is a monstrosity. And in G1, he had a good design, but his character was just more annoying than anything else. Like, I really can't really think of anything in terms of G1 Heath aside from him just being an annoyance. In fact, surprisingly, the only version of Heath that I've actually really liked was G3 live action, and that was actually one of the really surprising parts about that universe, is the fact that I actually liked Heath, and I liked Abby in that, so I could definitely ship them there. As far as G1 though, first of all, I need to clarify this: I absolutely love Abby. I gotta say that right out the gate, because mainly I laughed so hard when I first heard her voice, because she has like a Russian accent, but the Russian accent she has is like the one from World's Dumbest, like that show, like the one that they purposely make kind of dumb sounding for the funny voiceovers. And it's not the most intelligent voice of all time. Let me tell you. So when I first heard her voice, I was like, "What? They gave her that voice?" And oh my god, it was so funny when I first heard her voice, and that was part of the reason why I actually really liked Abby from the start. So I really love Abby. Heath, on the other hand, that's a I have mixed opinions there. Again, I like his G3 live action version, and so I could definitely ship them there. But for everywhere else, like I can see why people ship them, and I could definitely get the appeal because fire and ice. Uh-oh, that was not what I wanted to do. It's either an okay or a oops. It's either an okay or a not bad. You know what? I'll put it. I'll put him in not bad. I'll give Heath the benefit of the doubt here because to some degree, my opinions on certain ships do kind of play into some writing mishaps as far as the characters themselves. So I'm gonna cut Heath a bit of slack, and I'm gonna put them in not bad because, I think if you really got some good writers in play, I think they could actually make Heath pretty cool. And in that case, I would definitely ship these two 100%. Caddy and Pharaoh. Now, this is a bit of a problem because I have not yet watched Boo York, Boo York, a Monsterific musical, and that's the one where this couple really stands out. I've seen Caddy a number of times because I've seen the web series, and I really like her, but I have not seen Pharaoh at all. I know he's kind of an important character in there because I believe he had a bit of a connection to Cleo. I could be wrong because my memory on some of these things is a little wonky because I have a terrible memory, frankly. But yeah, that's the thing. Me really having not seen that movie really kind of sways my opinion here. I'm not sure where to put this. I suppose I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. I suppose I'll put them in not bad because I do really like Caddy. So there's that. But yeah, that's definitely on me for having not seen Boo York, Boo York as of now. Deuce and Claude. Now, I have some opinions on this. In my opinion, Draculaura and Claude is a ship that you absolutely should keep. It just works so well, especially for what they were going with in the actual series. That works really well, and they're actually a really nice couple. One of my favorite heterosexual couples, I would have to say. And to get rid of that, to ship one or the other with someone else, for me is why would you do that? The foundation is there. You have this awesome pairing already. Why would you get rid of it? And this is one of the instances where that really applies. So I don't see anything wrong with it personally. So I'm going to stick it in but I just really prefer Draculaura and Claude. That's definitely my preferred ship for both of them. Cleo and Deuce, next up. I don't see anything wrong with it, personally. And I don't believe I said this, so I'm going to go ahead and say it now. To some degree, if you guys have seen my Deviantart especially, but my Deviantart and Tumblr, you guys will know that I'm working on a idea for a Vivziepop styled Monster High series that someday I would really like to try and see if we can make it at least somewhat official. Maybe we could make it into a animated series on YouTube, perhaps even bring it to Viz herself to animate so we don't get any copyright around that. That would be an awesome idea, and I would love to see that through someday. And so to some degree, pairings that I have in that idea kind of play into how I feel about pairings here. And personally, I know like Cleo and Deuce are like the major Monster High couple, but for me that would be Draculaura and Claude. And honestly, I see a lot more creative storytelling ideas for what they did with them in G3, like particularly live action, like how they had Cleo and Deuce having gone through a pretty rough breakup. Like from there, I can see a lot more unique storytelling options coming out of that, especially in regards to a couple of other ships that we'll be getting to later on. So the creative freedom by eliminating the ship definitely plays into it. I suppose I'll put them in okay, because it's not bad for all intents and purposes. It is not bad at all. I just see there's a lot more creativity to be had if they're separate, which allows other ships to come to the spotlight. Like in particular, in this Vivziepop styled Monster High series, Cleo ends up being kind of shipped with two individuals, one for a certain period of time and one for the rest of the series. And there's a lot more creative freedom, I find, in having Cleo and Deuce separate. So I'll put them in okay, because they are okay in my opinion, but there's a lot more storytelling opportunities to be had by having them separate. Next up we have, oh wow, that's ironic to have after Cleo and Deuce, because that's one of the pairings I was just talking about. Cleo and Toralei. Now, another thing that kind of factors into these is what I think about them in all Monster High generations. And to be honest, I can see this one in almost all Monster High generations. Like, I can definitely see it in G2. And because they were kind of forced into a get-along shirt with Freaky Fusion, I can honestly see it there. And I honestly kind of ship it there. Unlike with another pairing we'll get to in a little bit. And because they seem to have like a really unique little relationship in G3 live action. Like they seem to actually kind of be besties in that one, and it's to the point that I actually kind of ship them in G3 live action. I think that really works. So the only one that I really don't ship them in is G3 animated, mainly because, in my opinion, G3 animated butchered nearly everyone. Like Cleo, and that was just like she was just way lower in terms of quality in terms of G1 Cleo, and Toralei was done numerous absolute disservices in the G3 animated series. So don't like him there. But also in my Vivziepop styled Monster High AU, this couple is a big one. Like Toralei and Cleo are pretty different from G1, but also very similar in this universe, and that really allows them to be paired together. And it is honestly a sick pairing. Like Cleo, she is just so ride or die with Toralei, and it's really a Discovery type of setup, because like Cleo in this universe, despite having gone through a bitter breakup with Deuce, she thoroughly believes that she is destined to end up with a dude. However, then in comes this sassy, strong, pretty werecat that absolutely makes her heart race, and she starts to realize that she actually really likes girls. That's something that I think a lot of people could really gravitate to, and it's the type of storyline that I loved writing for these ideas. So you know what? I'm not sure exactly. Like, crap. It's either between awesome or not bad. If we were just going by G3 live action and my Vivziepop AU, I would probably put that in OTP, honestly. You know what? I'll go ahead and put them in Awesome Couple. I feel like that really deserves that spot. So, yeah, Cleo and Toralei up there in Awesome Couple. Now, we have Gulia and Cleo. This one I don't really understand. Like, this one I just don't really get. Because, like, in my opinion, Cleo and Gulia are more just, like, friends. Like, that's really all I could see them as. I don't see them as a romantic pairing at all. So, again, it's not a wow bad. I'm definitely going to put them in I just can't see that. Draculaura and Claudine. This is another instance of what we're talking about with Claude and Draculaura. Like, personally, this pairing is extremely overrated, in my opinion. I'm actually going to be putting this in wow bad, because a lot of people ship this, but in my opinion, it doesn't deserve that much credit. Like, it's okay for what it is, but first of all, you have Draculaura and Claude, who are an awesome couple, and have basically the same thing going, a vampire and werewolf relationship. They have that same thing, and there's a lot of other really good characters that you could pair with Claudine, so why would you just erase Draculaura and Claude just to have this? Like, I really just can't get that, really. So, I think under normal circumstances, I would put it in but I really want to make my point here, because, like, in my opinion, this is easily the most overrated Monster High ship. Like, everyone seems to ship this, and I just don't get it. Like, why do we have to eliminate Draculaura and Claude just to have the representation? We can have the representation with other characters. So why do we have to specifically erase this pairing? I don't know. I don't know what people's train of thought for that is. But next up, we have Draculaura and Claude. OTP. Right off the bat. OTP. I really, really like this pairing. And I just really like the aesthetic of it. Like the vampire and werewolf relationship. I know that's kind of been a little overdone nowadays. But again, it's just really cool here. I really like it. In fact, I think this was one of the... Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe this is one of the first pairings in fiction to actually really go for that. And it's really good. I really like it. I absolutely really, really like it. One of my favorite Monster High pairings for sure. And definitely one of my favorite heterosexual couples. Draculaura and Claude, they're awesome. Now, Draculaura and Gory. I think I may have seen this a couple of times, but that's an absolutely not. No, like that. We're going to get into a similar conversation with this with, like, Claudine and Toralei. Like, you have someone from the main group dating one of their bullies. That's just a major no. That's a major no. We're not going there. Absolutely not. Oh, boy. Next up, then, this is another one that really cripples me, because I've seen parts of Haunted, but for the most part, I haven't really seen the movie, so I don't remember who these two characters are right off the bat. So, I could really only put them in because at least with Caddy and Pharaoh, I knew a bit about at least one of the characters and kind of a bit about the other. This one, I really don't know anything, so I'm really crippled by the fact that I haven't seen the movie they were featured in. So, yeah. Valentine and Draculaura. Is it an absolutely not? I think it is, because this falls into a very similar line as Draculaura and Gory, but it's even worse when you take into account what Valentine's plan was in Why Do Ghouls Fall in Love. So, yeah. Yeah, I'd say that's an absolutely not. Frankie, and I believe his name was Andy, I believe, from Escape from Skull Shores. It worked. It worked for what it was in the movie, but I feel like there's some pairings for Frankie that are a bit better than this. I don't think it's terrible. You know what? I'll put him in not bad because I don't think it's a bad pairing. I honestly don't. But there are some other pairings featuring Frankie that, interestingly enough, are right here. So, yeah, let's see. Frankie and with Holt and Jackal. I'll go ahead and put that in awesome couple. I really like it for what it was. I thought that was cute. Frankie and I have some trouble pronouncing his name. Nathan, I believe. Who knows? But I really do like this one. Like this was a highlight of Freaky Fusion. Like they kind of left Frankie separate from everyone else, yet they still found someone for her to really connect with. And I thought for what it was, that was really well done. So yeah, I'll go ahead and put that one up there. Frankie and Hoodoo. I'm not a big fan of Hoodoo, to be honest. Like his character was just not really necessary for a lot of reasons. And to be honest, he's kind of flat out forgettable. Like I could see why he was never in any other Monster Generations from what I can remember, because he was just kind of there. He was just kind of a dude, no pun intended. So, I'll put it in because I don't think it's necessarily bad, but it is kind of forgettable. Gory and Bram. Now, this is complicated because, like, Gory, on the other hand, I really like. Like, I think she has a cool design, and she's just a cool character overall. Bram, though, did not make as much of an impact. Like, he was just really kind of there in Fright On. So, I'm not sure how to put that, really. Because, again, he was just kind of there. Gory, I really liked. I don't really feel that much for Bram. I'm gonna put it in okay, because I do feel like it is an okay pairing. But again, I don't really feel that much for Bram, because in fact I don't even think he appeared that much, did he? Because like he was only in Fright On a couple of the webisodes here and there, and I don't think he ever had an appearance in the 3D animated movies. I think Gory definitely did, but I don't think he ever did. Yeah, I think I'm gonna stick him there. Alright, decided to sit up so I could stop creasing my neck. Okay. Next step, Manny and Heath. I mean, Manny is an okay character. I don't think he made that much of an impact, to be honest, but he's not bad. I don't think he's bad, but Heath, again, he's... this is really just going into either G1 or G3, because that's like the G3 animated in particular, because that's the only one where these two were really featured together like the most. And in both of those, Heath was not that good, in my opinion. So, I'm going to put that in... I really can't see myself putting it anywhere else, honestly. Frankie and Laguna. Is this legit a pairing? Like, is this legit a ship in Monster High? I don't think I've ever seen this one. I don't think I've seen this one at all. Let me know in the comments down below if this is actually a monsterized ship, but I can't ever remember seeing this, and I really I really don't see it. Like, in my opinion, these two are just friends. Absolutely. I don't know if it's a wow bad, or no, I don't know if it's an absolutely not. I'm gonna put it in wow bad because I don't see that one straight up. Like, these two are besties. They can be besties, but I don't think you can pair them together romantically. I just don't think that's a thing, really. Laguna and Gil. Gil, to be honest, wasn't that interesting in either generations. I feel like, especially because I feel like he was better in G3, but he still didn't make too much of an impact. And in G1, he was just kind of there. Like, he was just kind of a guy. He didn't make too much of an impact. There was a unique thing in terms of like him being like freshwater and Laguna being saltwater, and that kind of keeping them apart. But I think it's mainly because I shipped Laguna with someone else that I feel like this pairing really doesn't work all that much, especially since Laguna was absolutely butchered in G3. Like, she was just obliterated compared to her normal character. So, I don't think it's bad. I'll put it in okay. I'll put it in okay. Rebecca and Claudie. I think I've seen this one like once or twice, and I mean, I could kind of see it. But I don't know. I don't know about this one. I think it honestly could work, but I mean, I wouldn't mind them just being friends, to be honest. So I'll put them in not bad because I can kind of see it. To be honest, like, I could kind of see that being a thing, but for the most part, I think you could just keep them as friends. Like, I think that would be the best thing to do with that. Now, Rochelle and Garrett. Let me just tell you, this ship I'm not that big of a fan of, and it's not either of these two characters' faults. Like, especially for Garrett, it is not his fault that the ship is going to be so low. It's the fault of the writers because they introduced him way too late in the series to actually make an impact. And aside from being Rochelle's boyfriend, he really didn't have anything going for him. He was just kind of Rochelle's boyfriend, and that was it. And he was introduced way too late in the series to actually make an impact. So I really don't think it's like a wow bad. I'm going to have to put it in eh. Yeah, because I don't think it's a bad pairing, to be honest, but Garrett is just kind of forgettable, mainly because the writers introduced him so late in the series. Like, they waited way too long to actually introduce him. Like, if they had introduced him sooner, he may have actually made quite a bigger impact, and I could probably have this pairing quite a bit higher, but because they introduced him so late and because he really wasn't much in terms of a character, I'm going to have to put that down there. I really don't think I could put it any higher. Spectra, and I forget the name again because I haven't fully seen Haunted. For what it is, I think it's good. You know what? Since I haven't seen Haunted, and I do think I could kind of see this, I'm going to put it in not bad. I'm going to give that one the benefit of the doubt. Torlai and Rocco. Really don't see that, and I don't even really think that works, so I'm going to put that in well bad. Yeah, honestly, really don't see that one. Like, I could see them kind of being like friends. I could definitely see them being that, but can't really see anything further. Halloween and Twyla. Now, one thing that you're probably going to notice from this tier list is that I tend to put the the individuals in the series who are just friends but who are shipped as a pairing quite a bit lower down, because mainly I just don't get the thing where people think like, oh, because they're friends we could definitely make a pairing out of that. Like, they do that for like every character. Excuse me. And I just don't really see it most of the time. Like, honestly, I just really can't see it, and this is definitely one of them. I can kind of see it for G3 because in there they have a bit of a different dynamic. But for G1 especially, nah, I really can't see that. I don't think it's bad per se. I'll put it in eh. Wisp and Gigi. Correct me if I'm wrong, but aren't these two technically like the same individual? Because like, wasn't like Gigi like, or not Gigi, Wisp, wasn't she like Gigi's like shadow or something? It's been a while since I've seen 13 Wishes, but I believe that was the case. And I don't know, shipping them together, that's just kind of weird because they're technically the same individual. So I really don't think I like that. I'm gonna have to put that in WoW Bad. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe they're like the same individual, and that's kind of weird. I'm not gonna lie. Toralei and Laguna. Tough. Really, really tough. Most of the reason why people ship these two, from my understanding, is Great Scarier Reef, which again I haven't watched. I've seen some of the Monster High movies, but I haven't seen quite a few of the others as well. And to be honest, I really just can't see that. Like, really, I can only really see Toralei with Cleo, because she's kind of a bit distant from the other Monster High characters to a degree. Like, she kind of does her own thing and no one really minds it. So she's really the only one I can ship with Toralei and be confident that wouldn't drastically change any character dynamics. So I guess I'll put it in because I really can't really see it. Now I know this image is a bit dark, but we have Elizabeth and Rebecca. I've seen Fright's camera action, and because of what they did in there, to the fact that like Rochelle had the vampire's heart inside her, I can kind of see this, to be honest. I can kind of see it. And I do believe they are close friends, from what I can understand. But from what I know, they're not too close of friends. Like, they don't hang out together all the time. Mainly because Elizabeth is busy in Hauntlywood. Honestly, I'm gonna put that in not bad. I can honestly see that. Valentine and Spelden. And I may have pronounced that name wrong, I just realized, but this is one that I have mixed feelings on again, because like, first of all, this ship is largely tainted by the existence of another one that we'll get to in a minute, but yeah, for what it is, I feel like this one is actually pretty good. Like, Spelden has kind of the same issue as Garrett in that he was just introduced way too late. But in my opinion, he actually made a pretty big impact, especially given his relation to Casta. Like, I feel like he definitely made a pretty big impact in that regards, even in spite of how long we had to wait for his introduction. I still think we should have gotten him way earlier. Like, I really don't think we should have had to wait that long. But he does make an impact despite how long we had to wait. And despite the fact that the IDW comics have way Like they have insanely big issues in terms of the writing. This is one that they actually managed to make work to a degree. Like the story around this one was actually pretty well done for what it was, surprisingly. So honestly, no, not there. I'm gonna have to put that in awesome couple. I think for what it was honestly done really well, and I would honestly like to see that done again in something better because the IDW comics are, bleh, they're not good. All right, next up we have Venus and Rebecca. Venus and Rochelle. And Rochelle, or not Venus and Rochelle. Rebecca and Rochelle and Venus. All three of those going down to absolutely not. This is the most egregious example of characters that are friends just being shipped. Like, I cannot understand that. Like, with these three especially, I just don't see it. Like, I don't understand why people insist on shipping these individuals, especially since there's like a three-way ship between these two, and I'm just like, okay, that's a bit much, don't you think? And it's even worse because I don't really see it, because like I'm just thinking like, what makes these three so special together that you think you need to ship all three of them together? Like, I just don't get that. I just don't get that at all. Oh boy. Claudine and Toralei. If there was ever a ship that was gonna start a war in the comments section, this is absolutely it. Now, before I put this where I'm going to, I want you guys to at least hear me out on why I'm putting it where I am. Because I have a feeling when I really tell you guys about why I put this pairing where it is and why I feel about it the way I do, there's going to be a number of people who agree with me. And I say start a war in the comment section because this ship has a massive following for some reason. And I have a feeling those people are going to be fighting the people who agree with me in the comments. So please be tame in your little fighting in the comments section. I could really use you guys being tame on that. But yeah, hear me out on this, because I have a feeling there's going to be a number of people who agree with my opinion. So right down to the bottom, that one goes. I hate this pairing. In fact, this is one of the only Monster High pairings that I absolutely hate. And again, let me tell you guys why. For a long time, like when I first started getting into Monster High, like back when I didn't really know how exactly the character dynamics of the series were, I actually tried shipping Claudine and Toralei, and for a while I didn't really mind it. But then as I started getting more into the series and I started learning more about how these character dynamics work, this ship slowly began to sour to the point that I had to force myself. Like, I had to force my brain to try to ship these two, and it just would not let it, because especially in G1, I just knew that, like, there's no way you can make this ship work. Like, there is just no way you can make that work. It would not happen. It absolutely would not happen. So eventually I just had to give up and stop shipping it altogether. But I didn't hate it at the time. I did not hate it at the time. I just kind of thought, it's really not that good. Like, if I was going by that judgment, like the judgment I had for the ship back then, I would probably put it in to be honest. Shit. Like, I would probably put it in to be honest. But recently, I've really thought about the ship, and I've realized that it's really messed up when you think about it. Like, Claudine, she is an individual who flat out stands up for her friends and does not take anyone's bullshit. And yet, we're gonna pair her with Toralei, her friend's biggest bully, and someone who, depending on how you view it, has even tried to expel and hurt her friends, depending on what you think her inviting Valentine to Monster High was. Are you going to tell me that Claudine's just going to say, forget all that crap. Forget all that crap. My friends won't mind me dating their bully and someone who tried to get them expelled and tried to hurt them. It'll be fine. No, I don't buy that. I don't buy that for a second. I absolutely do not buy that at all. And that was what really soured this shit for me. Like, I thoroughly realized that it could never happen. And if it would be seriously messed up. Like, imagine having a friend like Claudine. Imagine having someone who will stand up for you no matter what. And then one day you just all of a sudden see them with your bully. How would you feel? Like, honestly, how would you feel about that? Like, I honestly think I'm making my point here. Like, I don't think you would be too happy about that. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I really doubt you would be okay with that. But that wasn't enough. That wasn't enough for the ship to completely sour for me. What ultimately put it down in the bin was the release of the IDW comics. When it was announced they were going to be making Toralei and Claudine a pairing, despite the fact that it obviously doesn't work, I was like, what the fuck are they doing? Like, do they even know what they're doing? And turns out they, to some degree, did, and they, to some degree, did not. Because if you were going to ship G1 Toralei with G1 Claudine, I would at least expect there to be some big explanation as to how the fuck this comes to be. And the comics, the IDW comics, especially the Pride issue, which focused on them, flat out ignored that. They didn't give us any explanation as to how this impossible ship suddenly comes to be. They're just expecting us to believe, and they're just expecting me to believe that Claudine is just going to say, I'm just going to forgive all the stuff Toralei did. I'm pretty sure my friends won't mind me dating their bully and someone who tried to get them hurt. No, I don't buy that. I don't buy that one bit. How are you just going to pair them without... My goodness, I'm ranting. I am ranting. I knew this was going to happen, but like, how are you just going to ignore all that stuff? And ultimately, I realized what they did. They saw that this ship was extremely popular, and they used that just to sell the comics. Like, they deliberately went, okay, this ship is really popular. Why don't we actually make a comic on that so we can sell good? So they literally just did it for the money. And that pisses me off. Like, I hate whenever something that I absolutely love has something done just as a cash grab, which is obviously what the Pride comic for these two was. And I hate it. I absolutely hate it. And that was the final nail in this ship's coffin, to the point that I absolutely despise this ship. And when I had to go back and look for this image again, because it for some reason didn't come up, when I looked for it, I was like, great. Because I honestly don't like even seeing this ship. Like, it has just been so unbelievably soured, in my opinion. I absolutely despise it. It is so bad. Especially since I really don't think it works in any generations. Like, G2 is very similar to G1 in this regard, so that doesn't work. I can't really see it in G3 live action, and G3 animated series absolutely butchered Claudine as a character, and they did Toralei numerous disservices, so really can't see that either. So, and then in G1, it's just absolutely terrible. It is absolute garbage. And you add in the offensive stuff with it just being a cash grab so IDW could sell these comics, and I have almost nothing good to say about this ship. That's why. In fact, you know what? I'm going to put it at the front of absolutely not, because like, so far, this is absolutely the one that I despise. This is absolutely the one that I despise. And the only thing that saves it from being my least favorite Monster High ship of all is the fact that you can consider it to be non-canon, because, let's face it, the books and the comics have such strange inconsistencies and such differences in comparison to the movies and the web series that it's pretty easy to see that they can just not be canon. I personally just think that they're not canon at all. I just like to believe that. That's why I was saying Valentine and Spelden is kind of tainted by another ship. That's this one, because this one absolutely sucks, and it was in the same comics that they were featured in, and that really taints it. Because every time I think about this pairing and how good it can be, I have to think about how terrible this one could be, because they were announced at like the exact same time, I believe. Like, it was announced, both of these stories, and this one I just absolutely don't like it. That's why I would like to see Valentine and Spelden in something else that's far better, and something that preferably doesn't have this. Like, I'm hoping with this new upcoming Monster High live action movie, I'm hoping that they go for some representation, but I hope they don't go this route, because, like, oh goodness, especially since I prefer Toralei as a villain. Like, she is written so well as a villain. Like, I really prefer to have her as that, because the writing for her in that degree was so clever, and I do plan on eventually trying to make a tier list for just Monster High characters. But holy crap. Again, the only thing that saves this from being my least favorite pairing is the fact that you can consider it to be non-canon. Now, I believe my absolute least favorite would be right here, Deuce and Claudine, because with the way they portrayed that in G3 live action, there's absolutely no denying that that's canon. But yeah, this one you can easily say is not canon. This one you can't really say, and that's why that one's my least favorite, because there's no denying that one. But this is just following behind, because I absolutely despise this pairing, and I cannot see it working at all. So yeah, sorry for going into a full-blown rant on this ship for 12 minutes of this just by itself. Holy crap. But yeah, I absolutely despise this pairing, and this is the reason why I had that conversation on Tumblr to see if I wanted to include this one, and I decided to include it. I decided I wanted to get my opinion out there, but it's just overly negative. Holy crap. Now you can see what I'm talking about, because I decided to actually switch positions. I actually previously had this on the charger, as you could probably see, and because I had to leave it a certain way, but also I wanted to actually try it out with a proper stand, but now I'm just holding it in my hand, as you can probably see. But I've gotten a more comfortable position, so hopefully This will be easier on my neck. Again, I need to figure out a better setup for these. But since I've been ranting for the past couple minutes on this one and being overly negative, let's go ahead and add in some positivity. Now, the reason I hate Claudine and Toralei as a ship is not because they're both female characters. Not at all. In fact, while I used to ship Claudine with a male OC, recently I've been growing on shipping her with female characters a lot more, and there's actually quite a lot of female characters in this series that I think work really well with her. So we're going to start with Claudine and Viperine, which is absolutely one of them, and this one's going right up to the top. Honestly, I gotta say, I really like this pairing, mainly because it just works so well. Like, think about this. Like, Claudine is a fashion designer and Viperine is a makeup artist. Viperine could literally finish Claudine's look. Like, that their interests just work so well. I could just flat out see Viperine doing Claudine's makeup every morning. Like, that just works so well. And I can even see Claudine making outfits for Viperine to test out. Like, this just works too well, especially since Viperine herself is actually really nice. And she's not like Toralei at all, thank goodness. I just really like that. I really like that pairing, I gotta say. One of my favorites for Claudine. Now we have Draculaura and Rebecca. I'll admit, there's a couple of ships that were brought about by Freaky Fusion, like Cleo and Toralei up here, that are actually pretty underrated, and I would have to say, this one's definitely one of the underrated ones. I prefer Draculaura and Claude, honestly, but I do have a bit of a soft spot for this, so I'm going to put that in not bad, especially because of how kind of funny and cute it was with them in that movie. Like, with how they just work a little too well, I'd have to say. So, yeah, I like that one. Claudine and Venus. This is another one I really like. I'm not sure if it's quite OTP. I'll put it in awesome couple because I do really like it. Like, especially from their dynamic in Freaky Fusion, like how when they get fused together, Claudine almost seems like she's allergic to Venus. Like, they just cannot make their combined powers work, like, at all. But then they learn to control that through meditation. Meditation. Are you kidding me? That's got to be like one of the healthiest dynamics I have ever seen. Like that just works too well. Not to mention Venus's fashion choice of, like, very punk inspired. I could really see that inspiring some work for Claudine. So, and Viperine is also really nice and easy to get along with, unlike Toralei. So, yeah, honestly, I'd have to say I ship that. That's honestly good. Now, Toralei and Nephra. This one kind of falls into the kind of same category as Cleo and Toralei, because part of the reason you can ship these two together so well is because of what cats represent in Egyptian culture. And because of that, both Nephra and Cleo can get that with Toralei super well, and it works super well in that regard. And I feel like it works a bit better, particularly in G1, because of how both Toralei and Nephra, they're both conniving, both scheming, they're both antagonistic. I feel like that could work slightly better, but mainly because of how I ship them in my Vivziepop styled AU, Toralei and Cleo. I do think I like it a bit less. I'll put it in not bad. Cleo and Deuce.
No, absolutely no. I like the first live action movie for a lot of reasons, but this pairing is not one of them. That actually really bummed me out. Mainly because at the time I shipped Claudine with a male OC, but now that I ship her with female characters, it's just a big no. And plus, this is literally like a why would you pair them? Like, I really don't know what the writers were doing for that, so. Yeah, and again, unlike Cleo and Toralei, this one is undeniably canon. Like, especially with Monster High 2, you really can't deny that these two are a couple, and it just doesn't work. So, yeah, Cleo and Deuce, or not Cleo and Deuce, Claudine and Deuce, right down to the bottom. Next up, we have Claudine and Wraith, I believe his name was, from G2. I really can't see that because Wraith especially really wasn't much character-wise. Like, he was just flat out forgettable. I don't know if it's a absolutely not or a wow bad. I'm just gonna say because I just really don't see it. Jennifer and Scalina. Again, I don't think it's a wow bad. I think I'm just gonna put it in but I also really can't see it. Like, this is another one of the most egregious examples of shipping individuals just because they're friends. And I think they were featured alongside each other in The Scariest City of Frights, but yeah. I could just see them as friends, especially since I ship Jennifer with someone else. Here we go. Here's one that I've been really looking forward to talking about. Claudine and Katrine. Dang it. Up to the top immediately. This is possibly my favorite Monster High pairing. I say possibly because there are a few really good ones I like, but that I really love. But this one in particular, I think is just phenomenal. Like, first of all, you have the kind of cat and dog dynamic, which people use to justify Claudine and Toralei. However, Katrine is just so easy to get along, and she doesn't have any of the like bullying stuff that would make it hard for them to be together. She's just so much of a better choice with Claudine, and you still have that dynamic. Like, why would you ship this, which obviously doesn't work, when you have this? And this is genuinely really cool because, like, you have Katrine, who is a Parisian artist, and Claudine, who is a fashion designer. I can really see that working really well. I can see that working phenomenally well, in fact. Like, I could just imagine these two being in a room together, working on their own separate projects, occasionally taking a break to chat, occasionally asking each other for some critique and some opinions, and even taking some inspiration from each other. I can just absolutely see that. And I can just see them doing that for like days. Like, they can just get along so well in that regard, and their interests line up so phenomenally well. Like, this pairing is extremely underrated. I don't know why there are not more people who ship this. I honestly can't get that into my brain, how people just mostly ignore this pairing. This pairing is awesome, especially since not only does it work well in G1, but in G2, where Katrine is implied to exist, it is absolutely adorable. Like, G2 Clatrine, as I like to call them, that's adorable. That is absolutely adorable, and I really ship that, both in G1 and in G2. I absolutely love this pairing. It's got the sort of cat and dog dynamic. It's got two characters whose interests really line up together, two characters who can really work together well, and it's got the representation that I really like. I Again, I don't know exactly if it's my favorite Monster High ship, but it could be up there. It could be up there. I absolutely love it. I absolutely love it. You know what? I'm in fact gonna put it at the front of OTP because I absolutely love it. One of my favorite Femlash ships of all time now. Rochelle and Deuce. No, I don't see that one at all. I can kind of see the why people would ship it, but as for just shipping it in general, nah. I don't think. I really don't think that works. Frankie and Deuce. Really don't see that one either. I don't know if it's an absolutely not. I'm gonna put it in wow bad because that one I really don't see. I really don't see, but I don't know if it's an absolutely not. Is what I'm wanting to say. Operetta and Johnny Spirit, I believe is his name. Kind of escapes me, but for what it is, I think it's okay. You know what? I'll put it in not bad because I don't think it's exactly a bad pairing. However, I do think Operetta especially has some major issues with her character. Like I don't like her design really. I like the bright red hair. I really like that, but I feel like number one, her outfit could have used a lot of darker tones. Like I don't like how vibrant it is, and I don't get her skin color at all. Like I don't know why you chose to make her almost bluish, pinkish. Uh, Excuse me, I'm partially colorblind, so it's hard for me to say what that is. But I don't get why you would make her skin color like that. Plus, I also don't really get making her giving her a southern accent. She's supposedly French, which you don't necessarily need to make her French. Like you could give her one of the various English accents that are still kind of their own thing in Europe. Like you could make her Welsh or Scottish, and honestly, I'd be down for that. But why Southern? I honestly, I don't know really how that works. Just a couple of critiques with Operetta, honestly. Cleo and Frankie, affectionately known as Clanky for G3. I don't necessarily see anything wrong with it, but Cleo was absolutely butchered in G3, so I don't know if it's a wow bad. I'm just going to put it in That was like a perfect slide to the left that did. But yeah, I'm just going to put it in because, to be honest, I really can't care for that because of how much they butchered Cleo, and I don't really think I see it anywhere else. Gulia, and I forget his name. The name escapes me. Slow-mo? If I'm correct, I probably not. Tell me if I'm correct in the comment section, but those two, I think it works. I think it works. For what it was, especially since Gulia, she doesn't seem all that intelligent, but she's actually kind of a nerd. I actually can really see that, to be honest. You know what? I'll put that near the front of not bad, because I don't think it's bad at all. Sarah and Invisibility. This one, again, I don't think is bad at all. It's just both Sarah and Invisibility were more of backgrounders. They always pushed these two characters over to the sidelines. And because of that, I really don't think they stand out all that much. If you had something that really brought them more to the forepoint, and that's one of the problems I have with Monster High is the fact that there's so many characters, some kind of get shoved to the sidelines, and this is one of those examples. I don't think as a pairing it's bad at all. In fact, I think it's actually pretty good. Had they made these two more meaningful, I think they would have at least made it into awesome couple. But because they pushed them to the sidelines to the point that they didn't really feel like they made that much of an impact, I'm gonna have to put them in not bad. Draculaura and Laguna, mainly from G3. Is it a absolutely not? Nah, I just think it's a wow bad. I don't see it in G1, G2, or G3 live action, but in G3 animated especially. No, because Laguna was absolutely butchered and Draculaura was stripped down massively. So, yeah, not a fan of that. Frankie and Abby. Now, this is a ship that I have seen kind of floating around a little bit, but I don't know if I'm about it. I think I'm going to put it in okay, because I think if you had to make it work, I think it could kind of, but not too sure about that. Elizabeth and Draculaura, I would have to say that's absolutely not. Again, these two were besties in the show, and I love Draculaura and Claude. Why would you have to ship these two just to put the representation there? We have the representation with a ship like this. Why would we have to get rid of this for this when we could just have this? Like, I don't get that. G3 Toralei and Mouseades. Interestingly enough, I actually feel like this works really well. Like, Mouseades in G3, she seems to be a big fan of werecats, to be honest, and I can instantly see her being connected to Toralei in that regards, and because Mouseades was a bit of a minor character, I really don't feel like I have to think about Toralei's mainstream story in the G3 animated series in regards to having this pairing. Like, I could just see them kind of going their own way and you shipping them from there. And honestly, it's really cute. I like the cat and mouse dynamic, and I think that could really work. I'm going to put that in OTP, actually, because I think that's easily the best ship that we ever had in G3 animated. I think that actually works really well. I like that. Monica and Toralei from G2. I can definitely see it. And I think for what it is, it works well, especially since Toralei in G2 was really by herself. She didn't have all of her friends, and she also didn't have Meowdy and Persephone in G2. But I ship Toralei more with some others, so I'll put that at the front of not bad. Cleo and Claudine. Holy moly. This is another one that I have a lot of positive things to say about. Like, this is, in my opinion, one of my favorite Claudine pairings, and it's definitely one of my favorite Cleo pairings. But here's the thing. When I think about shipping Claudine with individuals, one thing that really goes into that is the fact that she's a werewolf, the fact that she has animal instincts that really drive her. I can really imagine her being drawn to someone who she feels like can handle her. Someone who can show her as much sass as she gives them, but also call her out if she should ever go too far with anything. I really feel like her animal instincts would draw her to someone like that. And Cleo is absolutely that individual. And because of that, this pairing just works so well, especially since, from what I understand, Cleo and Claudine had some beef in G1 because Cleo was in a relationship with Claude and broke up with him. But to be honest, I honestly see Claudine and Cleo as being more besties. If anything, like, they don't really seem like they have beef in the show. Like, if anything, they just look like they get along perfectly. And in fact, when they're together, they are just a power couple because they're both fierce. They're both sassy. They both feel like they can handle themselves and anyone who should come at them. Oh man, I don't know. Do I want to put it? Oh, do I want to put it in OTP or Awesome Couple? It's one of these two. You know what? I'll put it in. I'll give it the benefit of the doubt. I'll put it in an OTP because I really like this pairing. I really like it. And in terms of shipping Cleo with someone, I would have to say I would definitely ship her with Claudine. In fact, Claudine's the other individual I was talking about for my Monster High Vivziepop styled AU. Because, again, in that one, Claudine is officially bisexual thanks to her animal instincts, and she ends up, like, with Cleo having gone through her breakup with Deuce, she suddenly sees Cleo as someone who's available, and because Cleo is someone that can really match her in a lot of different ways, she's got some bisexual attraction to her. And Cleo ultimately lets Claudine go after a while because, in her own opinion, she feels like Claudine is a bit too good for her. Like, she understands her a bit too much, and she wants Claudine to find someone who's truly the one for her. But for the time that they were together, which was a pretty good amount of time, they were a phenomenal couple. So yeah, I think I'm going to leave that in OTP. I really like that. Operetta and Deuce? Absolutely not. That one was just absolutely random. I don't get that one at all. Gory and Toralei. This might be controversial, but I gotta put that at OTP. This is an extremely rare pair. In fact, I think I was the one who really came up with this pairing, which shocks me because this is probably the best pairing in G1 for Toralei. Like, think about this. Literally everyone else that people ship with Toralei, there is some issue there. Like, there is some sort of tension, one way or another. Gory, on the other hand, she doesn't seem to have any tension with Toralei. Like, especially having seen Fright's camera action and how well they seem to get along in that, I feel like if there was anyone who Toralei was to have a lasting relationship with, which I'm assuming is what we're trying to go with, I'm assuming we want these relationships to last, I really feel like Gory is the one for Toralei. Like, I feel like they could get along, like, forever, because they didn't seem to have any problems in, like, just those 2 scenes? And that's crazy. Like, to be honest, even if they were just friends, I'm honestly disappointed that we didn't get to see more of them together, because they seemed like they were really good friends. And again, as a pairing, I think they could work really well. I have to say, that's probably my favorite pairing for Toralei, honestly. Mainly because I can really see that as one that lasts. So, yeah, I'm going to have to put that in OTP. Now, Nephra and Claudia. I do like this. I do really like this. But here's the thing. This kind of contradicts with Cleo and Claudine. Because, like, if you ship one of these 2 pairings, then that's going to make the other one gross. Because, honestly, of course in that regards, they would technically be sisters. So, and I think because I like Cleo and Claudine a bit more, I'm going to have to put Nephra and Claudia just a bit lower. But not by much, because I do really like them together. I really feel like Nephra could be around Claudia for some time, and Claudia could be the one who really makes her start to soften up. I can absolutely see that. And I think that honestly kind of works. I think it honestly really does work. Now, oh boy, we're on to our last two. Good, because my throat is admittedly killing me. We have, and this is another rare pair for some reason, Jennifer and Laguna. I don't see how this is a rare pair at all. Like, first of all, Abby and Heath are paired together because of the fire and water dynamic. Or not fire and water, fire and ice dynamic. But this has a very similar dynamic. Laguna and Jennifer, not quite on the same level, but they have a really nice fire and water dynamic, which was kind of explored in Freaky Fusion. Like, when they were fused together, they had to figure out a way to make Laguna's aquatic nature and Jennifer's heat and fire-based abilities work. And I just honestly really like that dynamic. I can really see that. And plus, from what I understand, Jennifer and Laguna get along really well. Like, they seem to be at least very good friends, and I can honestly see them as a pairing. I can definitely see that. Plus, I can kind of see a bit of an interesting LGBTQ relationship here. Like, if we were to assume that Laguna is either bi or lesbian, that would be interesting to have around Jennifer because, Laguna, she's an Australian. She comes from a country which is extremely accepting to those kinds of people. Jennifer, though, communist China nowadays is not all that friendly for LGBTQ individuals, so I could see there being a bit of hesitation on her part in terms of wanting to actually try that. But she's such good friends with Laguna that I think after some time they could really make that work. And that's very much what ends up happening in my Vivziepop styled Monster High AU. Like, they end up accidentally getting sent on a blind date together, and they decide, well, you know what? Even if nothing develops, we can at least spend some time together. We can just at least spend time with each other, and we could catch up. But something honestly does start to develop, in spite of there being a little bit of hesitation on Jennifer's part, because she trusts Laguna. She and Laguna are good friends. And after spending a whole lot of time together, they honestly start to develop a relationship. So, honestly, OTP. I have to say, that is an OTP for me. I really like that. It just works so well, in my opinion, and it's got a similar appeal as Abby and Heath. Not to mention, Laguna and Jennifer, they're both calm, they're both collected, they're cool in terms of their personalities, like they're very calm. Jennifer is zen, of course. It just works. It just works super well, in my opinion. And now, finally, on to the last one. We have Claudine and Rochelle, affectionately known by me as Moonstone. First of all, a beautiful ship name, but honestly, I'm going to put that at the front of Awesome Couple. I don't know if it's quite an OTP, but I really like it. Like, it's got a similar appeal as Cleo and Claudine because Rochelle is a strong individual. Because she believes herself to be a natural defender. Like, she legit took a dragon's breath to contain it. So she clearly believes that she is a strong, capable individual. And that's very much the kind of individual that Claudine is. And so I could definitely see Claudine being attracted to Rochelle because she's strong, she really feels like she could handle her, but she also has reason, and she could definitely call Claudine out if she should ever go too far with anything. I can honestly really see that, and it honestly works quite well. Not as much as with Cleo and Claudine because Rochelle honestly doesn't have that much sass to her. But still, I think it works really well for what it is. And I just think that there's a cool dynamic there between the whole werewolf and gargoyle thing because of the ship name, Moonstone. Like, when you think about it, technically they are both creatures of the night because, gargoyles, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe the lore on them is that they're statues that come to life at night, and obviously werewolves, they transform in the light of the full moon. So that actually really works. I can actually really see that. I'm not quite sure if it's an OTP. If we were talking about my Vivziepop styled universe, because Rochelle was actually the individual in that who helped Claudine come out as bisexual, because Rochelle was Claudine's first female love interest in there. If we were going specifically off of that, I might put that in OTP, but I think if we're taking into account the series in general, because to be honest, I can also kind of see it in G2. It's very similar in G2. I quite like it. I really think that I just think that Cleo and Claudine work a bit better in that regard. So I'll put them in awesome couple. But yeah, this is my tier list. And I think it's really good. And I think a number of you guys can probably agree with me a lot on some of these things. I know there's going to be some instances of controversy, like definitely some of the ones through here. But for the most part, I think you guys could really agree with this. And let me know in the comments. Be nice, of course, because no one wants to be the individual who says, no, you suck, this should be up here, and stuff like that. No, because this tier list was my opinion. You don't do that, because that's just not nice to do. But tell me in the comments if you agree with this list. I would really like to hear you guys' opinions, honestly. But anyways, my throat is killing me. That was a while of talking, and I'm glad I kind of did this the way I did, because I could just edit it all together. But yeah, I'm going to go give my throat a bit of a break, and I'm probably going to take a little bit off of YouTube, because this is probably going to end up being a pretty long video, to be honest. So I'm going to refill my cup, get something to drink, and I'm going to kick back and relax for the next few hours. So if you guys enjoyed this video, leave a like down below and consider subscribing to my channel if you like my content and want some more. And I'll probably post some links to my Deviantart and Tumblr accounts down below. Please go show me some support there. Like, the support that a lot of the folks on there have been showing me for my content means the world to me, just as much as with my YouTube channel. But anyways, I will see you guys in the next video.